Welcome back. The National Workers Union's Deputy President General Solis Myers has provided an update on the Scotiabank negotiations following the acquisition of the bank by Republic Financial Holdings Limited, RFHL. A recent announcement by the government of St. Lucia indicated an approval for the banking business vesting order for RHFL to acquire Bank of Nova Scotia operations in St. Lucia. Myers says the NWU, for its part, has continued discussions with all parties to ensure a smooth transition for employees represented by the union.
So the union, who is the recent bargaining agent of workers at Scotiabank, we have been in touch with both Scotiabank officials and officials from Republic Bank, along with the shop stewards and staff. So we've been having meetings over the last few months trying to iron out the industrial relationship moving forward, because there would have been a transfer of the various benefits. So what we can report right now is that we're in constant contact with both entities, and we're hopeful that there will be a smooth transition when the time comes.
The Deputy President General decided against divulging the full details of the transfer. However, Myers says the amicable feedback received from all parties involved in the acquisition is a good indication.
What I can tell you is that we have been in discussions with all parties, and so far the discussions have been very positive. So we maintain the open communication lines. If there are any questions or concerns that are channeled through us, they go straight through the various entities. So far the relationship has been very cordial, so we hope to continue in that direction.
She went on to reveal that the long-standing issues with the management of the Bank of Nova Scotia as it relates to merit increases and other issues are indeed being ironed out. Myers says the union is working towards finalizing all aspects of negotiations with the bank before the takeover comes into effect. Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, who is currently the CARICOM chairman, is attending the World Economic Forum Sustainable Development Impact Summit. At the forum, he highlighted the dire situation being faced by small island developing states as they face the brunt of climate change with superstorm phenomenon. Small island developing states are facing extinction due to climate change. That was the sobering message delivered by St. Lucia's Prime Minister and current CARICOM chairman Alan Chastanet as he participated in the World Economic Forum's Sustainable Development Impact Summit. Although small island developing states, SIDS, are among the lowest carbon emitters, they are among the most impacted by climate change. The Prime Minister, part of a 5-member panel on the topic of transforming markets, redesigning today's economic models, spoke to the challenges that small island nations face on the front lines of climate change.
We have had now several years where there is absolute evidence of the climate change. It's numbers that are incomprehensible. So for instance, Dominica, 2 hurricanes. The second one, Maria, 200% of your GDP. I mean, can we fathom that? That all of a sudden, life as you knew it on an island is completely destroyed. That the people who are staying there are really the ones that were self-employed, that were on the farms. And teachers, doctors, nurses leave. Do they ever come back? And so Bahamas, and if I can just take you for a moment, to be in a house in which the sea level rose more than 15 feet, and that you're hanging onto the rafters of your roof to breathe because the water's underneath you. And that instead of the wind blowing off the roof, the water basically took the roof off with it. And that you were there for 36 hours. And then now another 24 to 48 hours afterwards, there was still sufficient wind that did not allow planes or helicopters to come in. So for 5 days, you were literally by yourself. And then when the water subsides, what do you have? You have an island that had 25,000 people that has nothing.
Prime Minister Alan Chastanet also highlighted the current global financial constructs that do not allow developing countries like St. Lucia to sustainably fund resilience strategies.
The final nail in the coffin for us is that we become now uninsurable. So if we don't build the physical resilience to reduce the amount of economic impact and chaos that the storm causes, then we become uninsurable. So a good friend of mine who has a hotel in Dominica, his insurance went up 600%.
600%?
600%. So it's now 20% of his operating cost. There's no model in which you can pay 20% of your operating costs for insurance. That's just not viable, and that's now, and since that hurricane, nothing has happened. So the second thing that we're trying to compete against is basically competitiveness on a global basis. And for a lot of the small island developing states, the macro rules of the IMF and the World Bank have unfortunately not been kind to us because it's one size fits all. And so we have been arguing that we need to start from micro when you're a small island. The number of things that we have as a choice to do is limited. So that's what you have to start with. And then you have to make sure your macro policy is in support of that. Now here's what happens. We have the storms coming. I know what I need to do. I need to slope stabilization, broaden and widen my rivers, put utilities underground, dedicated shelters, coastal restoration programs. But I don't have the money. If I have to go and borrow the money on commercial terms, because the OECD has now classified me as a middle-income country because of my per capita GDP.
The discussion focused on the measurements of productivity and economic growth, as well as human prosperity, natural capital health, and community resilience. The panel also included a youth ambassador from Bali, the senior advisor to the World Economic Forum, a journalist, and a global climate change leader for the World Bank. The forum continues with a new panel on its second day on Tuesday. Morning traffic on the Groseley to Castries highway is enough to give anyone road rage. One driving instructor says the solution to this issue is not as complex as it may seem. He calls for more road users to navigate the island's back roads as a way to alleviate morning traffic. He further rebuts claims that driving instructors are to blame for much of the traffic backups on the highway.
We've all been there, stuck in heavy traffic with an early appointment and time quickly approaching. Late for work, late for school, late for an important meeting. The issue is one which is frustrating and has at some time or another affected every commuter along the Groseley to Castries highway daily. Driving instructor Thomas Francis advises road users to use the simple act of waking up earlier to ease the backlog of traffic.
If persons were working at 8 o'clock in the morning, you know that if you leave home at 7:30, you'll be late because of road conditions. So let us try and leave at a time at least that will get us to our destination in reasonable time.
The driving instructor says the argument made against driving schools being the cause of traffic when using the highway is an unfair statement.
Driving schools on the road, it's true. To some people, we are keeping them back, but there's no other place that we can bring our students to learn. And the persons that we have a business, and then we have to understand that these people will be driving at the same hours after they get the license immediately after they buy the vehicle, and they will be the one in the traffic on the back. So we have to teach them how to use the traffic so that when they get a license, they'll be able to maneuver in the way that they should. And we also teach them the back roads. So when they get a license, they can use the back road.
Additionally, Francis says drivers must also make use of the many back roads which can lead them to their destination.
We have the back roads, a lot of back roads that are open right now, and the roads are good. So instead of leaving Groseley, when you go down the highway, why don't you just pass through Monnier and find yourself, and even you're going down to Calisac, you can pass through Monnier, find yourself through Calisac, through Babono, to Apiton, and down to Calisac. And I mean, we are using the road in a manner that we don't care.
The morning traffic issue has also been addressed by drivers of the Groseley Minibus Association, who have advised passengers and road users to make arrangements for earlier traveling times to avoid getting stuck in morning traffic jams. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
Another round of training has commenced at the National Skills Development Center, NSDC. The institution, which prides itself on offering technical and soft skill training to young adults, says it welcomes partnership with financial institutions to aid student development.
The National Skills Development Center is a dynamic institution focusing on technical and vocational skills. NSDC offers a wide range of training in various areas inclusive of agriculture, information technology, and hospitality. Public Relations Officer NSDC Mustafa Felicier says the institution is currently hosting another round of training.
We're asking people if you are interested in knowing what the NSDC has to offer, please give us a call. I will say we offer classes such as bartending, office administration, massage therapy, computer networking, website development, and the list goes on and on. Okay? We're also eager to work with persons' preferred financial institutions, so, to make access to training a whole lot easier.
Felicier says in the past, sponsored classes were provided to interested trainees. He says financial difficulties have relegated the institution to solely offering paid courses. However, the Public Relations Officer welcomes financial partners to come on board in aiding interested persons in their quest for self-development.
Training has never been free at NSDC, it's always been sponsored. And that's the difference, because it didn't mean at some point that the actual participants didn't pay for training, but somebody paid for it. Right now, that has become increasingly more difficult, and so partnering with institutions like SLDB, where people can actually go and get the financing to be able to pay for their training, is critical, and other financial institutions as well. So we welcome all partners or any other institution willing to work with NSDC to get St. Lucians trained.
Meanwhile, the NSDC looks to coordinate an employment opportunity forum for past trainees of its productivity enhancement course. Interested persons are asked to walk with the curriculum vitae on the 26th or 27th of September and visit any one of the NSDC's offices island-wide for a chance at job placement. For further information, interested persons can contact the NSDC at 458-1677. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
The closure of a petrol station in the north of the island is seemingly having no adverse effects on minibus drivers. That's according to one member of the Grocery Minibus Owners Association. Thomas St. Louis said bus drivers have more than enough options to fill up on gas, and so the closure of one station is no problem.
To be honest with you, this is a gas station that is hardly utilized by myself. The way the Grocery minibus drivers operate is to stop in Grocery there is really not a must for them. So I don't think it really poses a big inconvenience really for the operators, because there are a lot of gas stations all around the Catfish-Grocery highway. So no, it's not really have a big effect on us.
No announcement was made by the management of the Sol Group about the closure of the Grocery Highway facility. A rep from the company could not confirm or deny whether the facility was closed. However, the rep did indicate that a statement on the matter would be released in due time. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. Tennyson Glasgow is up next with all the sporting action.